So you might as well deem this an official match. Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan more and likely will happen at Bad Blood in Atlanta, Georgia in October. And hey, I know the event is not dubbed Hell in a Cell. I know that Bad Blood was the debut of Hell in a Cell the last time we saw a Bad Blood PLE. It was The Undertaker against Shawn Michaels. It featured the debut of Kane. So even though Bad Blood is not supposed to be a Hell in a Cell PLE, I do feel it would only be fitting to put one or more matches in the Hell in a Cell. Now, I don't want them to get crazy with it. I don't want an all Hell in a Cell PLE. But honestly, if you had to ask me, I got like 3 in the chamber for a Hell in a Cell match. I got Damian Priest and Finn Balor. I got Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. I got CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. And hell, if they're going to do it, I might even throw in Solo Sikoa and Cody Rhodes. That's the only way, right? Cody can finally get Solo in the ring. No interference. Nobody running in and trying to stop this match from happening. No Bloodline. No Roman. No KO. No Randy Orton. And then maybe Randy Orton comes in and then turns heel. I mean, what about that for drama, right? So what I'm saying is I'm getting ahead of myself. It must be official at this point that we will see Rhea Ripley against Liv Morgan at Bad Blood. But is this match going to be in a Hell in a Cell? Currently, I am watching WWE Raw. It has yet to conclude as I am putting out this video. If it does conclude with a confirmed Hell in a Cell match between Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, I will redo this video. And I will put out that, hey, I recorded this at a time when Raw was going on, and I called Rhea Ripley against Liv Morgan in a Hell in a Cell. And, hey, go back to my other videos. I have been calling this match going into Hell in a Cell for a long time, for months even, because I believe that it's getting to the point where Rhea Ripley is going to be sick of the Judgment Day constantly interfering and getting involved. She is going to want Liv Morgan in the cage where Liv can no longer run away and she can no longer avoid the Riptide. And I feel like Rhea Ripley is going to get to the point where she makes the challenge. What is going to be interesting to me is Liv Morgan and how she accepts the match, because by accepting the match, she's going to have a trick up her sleeve, and you can bet your bottom dollar that Sucio Dominik Mysterio is more than likely going to try and get involved. He will get involved. I feel like at that point you might see the final, you might finally see Riptide from Rhea Ripley on Dominik Mysterio. Finally hitting that Riptide, in my opinion, will more than likely cost her the women's championship, and Liv Morgan will win. And I think that is an excellent story to tell. It makes sense why the Terror Twins were able to win in dominant fashion at Bash in Berlin this past Saturday. And it is because you know that going into Hell in a Cell, Rhea Ripley, it's a foregone conclusion she's probably going to win the women's championship. But to keep this story alive, to keep this story going, is Liv Morgan once again winning and Rhea finally realizing she's got to do something to get rid of Dom and maybe get in the ring and go one-on-one with Dom, beat Dom, and then beat Liv Morgan. Or, hey, maybe they do a Dominik Mysterio in a cage above the ring type of a scenario, which they haven't done that in a while. That's pretty old school, and I would be all for it. You put Dominik Mysterio in a cage and you hang him above the ring. They could do that for Bad Blood, but I really feel like Hell in a Cell is probably the first option, and then go into the in a cage above the ring scenario for Dominik Mysterio. Liv tries to throw him the keys. She catches the Riptide. 1, 2, 3. New women's champion is Rhea Ripley. Dominik tries to get the door unlocked or something, or maybe Rhea breaks the lock inside of the cage. I mean, there's so many different, or inside of the cage door. There's so many different ways you can go with that scenario. I'm an old school wrestling fan, as you can tell by my handle, so I would more than likely pop huge if they went that way for their third and potential final matchup in their feud, to conclude it with Rhea beating Liv Morgan, with Dominik hanging above in a steel cage. I think that might actually be a good way to go with that. So Rhea Ripley coming out and was super over this past Monday on Raw. She was giving a speech about wanting to finally rid herself of Liv Morgan and get that championship back that she never lost, that she had to relinquish right after WrestleMania before she got hurt, where Liv Morgan beat Becky Lynch, effectively sent Becky Lynch home, and then decided to take everything from Rhea Ripley. Everything. She took everything from her. She took Judgment Day. She took Dom. She took the Women's Championship. But the one thing she did was awaken a beast in Rhea Ripley. And it was amazing to see Rhea in prime form going crazy at Bash in Berlin. That was a great mixed tag team match. Probably one of the better mixed tag team matches I have ever seen. Now you got to wonder what Finn Balor is probably going to do to get in the head of Damian Priest to set up a matchup between those two as well. Bad Blood actually has a pretty decent lineup ahead of itself. If you look at what might be in play here, you might have Finn Balor and Damian Priest. You might have Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan potentially in a Hell in a Cell. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, where I feel like Drew is going to break the bracelet that CM Punk regained at Bash in Berlin. He's going to rip that thing into 1,000 pieces, and CM Punk is now going to say, I'm going to kill you, and I want you in a Hell in a Cell. I think that's where we're going with that, because that's how Drew McIntyre goads CM Punk into another match with him. You will also probably see a Braun Breaker against whoever wins that Intercontinental Championship 4-way, which I feel like should be Jey Uso, but may be Ilya Dragunov, considering the history that those two have. Braun Breaker and Ilya Dragunov, I mean. And then you've got like Cody Rhodes potentially against Solo Sikoa in a rematch. And so you've got a pretty good lineup there. I feel like they're going to go with 5 matches. They might go with 6, but 5 matches. And I feel like 2 of them being in a Hell in a Cell is not overkill. You start the show off with a Hell in a Cell, and you end the show in a Hell in a Cell. And I think it would be not the worst thing in the world for them to do. So what do you guys think? Do you think Rhea Ripley is finally going to get her hands on Liv Morgan inside a Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood in October? Am I on the right track for that? Should it be Dominik Mysterio in a cage above the ring? What gimmick match, if any, would you put for the next Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan match? You guys let me know in the comments. Thanks again for watching this far. If you have been, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notifications bell for all new videos coming up, because we are in the portal of pro wrestling all the time. Stuff from the past, present, and the future. Stay tuned for more.